$100,000 to the winner of this match. As we said earlier, it's a double elimination. And the man on the left, Purvis Granger, defeated Don Scudder. Scudder's first defeat of the week. Earlier, as we take a look at the dominant forces he showed in this first of the championship matches.
This is how he started out on lane 19. He had 8 strikes so far there. Lane 20, another strike coming a little high, tripping it out. Back to lane 19. Same shot, started off with a 3-bagger and never looked back.
8 strikes gave Purvis Granger the win, 245 to 198. As that's Don Scudder's first loss. We now have to bowl again, and the winner here will get all the marbles. Don Scudder this time electing to lead off on lane 19. Scudder at 44, the oldest athlete in the championship finals. You can see his results on the last championship match.
Lane breakdown very similar. He's just electing to change lanes. Maybe from the outside line, he decided he likes lane 20 better.
Well, his first shot of the last championship match was a split. That's a little bit better.
That was a great shot. Saw him running it out. He knew that he made the shot he needs to make.
And Don picks up the spare in the first. And we can see now if Purvis Granger will continue his awesome performance here today.
See the lane breakdown for him, 13 strikes on lane 19, 10 on 20. He will finish on 19. Or he finished on 19 the match before last, so he did get an extra strike in there that way. Lane's pretty similar for him. Leaving a half pocket 10 pin. And I don't see the smiles anymore. He was all laughing and giggling the last match, and this is it. This is for $50,000, John. I think that the nerves might start to show here.
And that's the $50,000 difference between first and second. $100,000 to the winner. Certainly not a bad payday for the loser here either. A spare in the first. Granger, who bowled a perfect game yesterday, he's already shown he has what it takes. He has the ability to deliver the high scores. Look at that, 11 800 series in his career. Is he back there? No. The 9 pin. It's the first time he's left that one.
That ball hitting a little too hard. So the breaks may not continue to go his way this match. About the same shot, not quite as far out as he had been. Ball finishing a little hard. See how it drives past and doesn't take out the 9 pin.
I don't know if it's a big story, but the surface of the lanes, the athletes have been pretty appreciative of it.
Right. I bowled here last year and this year, and it's very nice. Samstown had head-in lanes come out, install new lanes and approaches. I think it really helped the players as far as getting a more consistent slide across the house. So they've all been pretty happy with that.
They call this man the Scud Missile. Don Scudder, who's employed by the state of Ohio as an investigator for unemployment compensation claims, taking time off to travel to Las Vegas. Oh, boy. And the 410, a difficult split.
That was a tough break. He's getting the ball to hook a little bit now in the area that he is. That looked like it was going to be a good shot. A little slower on his speed. See how it hooks up at the last minute. Unfortunate not to take out that 10 pin. The way the pin came across, normally you would see the 10 fall out.
Prior to the start of the television finals, Don had bowled 10 consecutive games without a single open frame. Something happened tonight. He's not been nearly as fortunate.
Well, he's not playing the line, John, that he did all week. He played in around the 3rd arrow or between the 10th and the 15th forward on the lane. And now because of that last match, which we didn't get to see, he was forced to move right and point the ball because he can't get the ball to hit. There's a good look at Will and Debbie Hedden, President and CEO of Hedden Bowling Corporations, the ones that installed the lanes we just talked about.
Steer right in the 3rd frame, bouncing right back off that opening.
Seems to have a much better line in that area.
Now leading by 12 is Purvis Granger. Has not yet struck in this championship match. The final game. Manages a pro shop at Imperial Lanes in Seattle. But there comes the first strike. And someone was telling us that Purvis was the first of the 5 television finalists to show up today, get to know the lanes, work on his equipment, make sure everything was in order.
He was down there very early. John, we were sitting back here, and he was already down there, had his balls out on the rack, and was getting prepared, mentally prepared. That's a big thing. Some of the other players weren't down here quite as early, but who knows? You know, prepare in different ways.
Well, it looks like he's found his niche. Purvis, with 2 in a row, gets to sit down as Scud Missile comes back, working on the strike in the 3rd.
Well, I think that Don's heart or the love of bowling is going to be tested right here, because he's going to have to hang in there. He knows it's just a matter of whether Purvis is going to carry or not, and Don just has to get some pressure on him.
Little high leaves the bucket on the left side. A couple of weeks ago, Don was out where he lives in Cincinnati, Ohio, slipped on some ice. Both his knees, he said, jackknifed out, and he thought he wasn't going to be able to bowl here, but he'd already bought the airplane ticket, non-refundable, and his sponsor convinced him to come on out for the try. As a result, he's going to win at least $50,000 here, maybe more.
That sponsor is Irv Hoinke. Thanks him for bringing him out here. As Don mentioned, he was having a little trouble with that right knee still from that. You can see he's putting some gripping cream. It looks like to me a gripping cream on his hands. Help him get a little bit better lift on the ball, probably.
He says on his bio he's got a lot of superstitions. Maybe the gripping cream is one, maybe kissing the bowling ball is one. It worked for him, and who am I to say otherwise? So he's trailing by 22, working on the spare.
That was a better shot. Had a little bit more rotation on that ball, John, and it drove a little bit harder through the pocket. You could see it when he put it down. You know, we talked about Purvis's 11 800 series, but you know, Don himself has 7 800s. So he's no stranger to shooting some big scores.
Purvis, 2 spares followed by 2 strikes. Stepping up in the 5th. Little high, and they all go down. That was a lucky one.
We talked about not counting on luck, John, earlier. I told you 3 times before he's come high and that lane broke up the split. Here he is again on the nose, same shot. This time actually kicking out 3 pins for a strike.
And what a reaction he gave us here. Smiling earlier. There you go. You don't see that often. You don't, not early in a match. You know, usually in the 10th frame you'll see that, but it's fun to see there are people involved here.
That was from a, you know, that's it for a turkey.
I tell you, the pins are blessed. Look at him. He knows it, too.
It's interesting that you said that, John, because when I asked Purvis's goal, so take a look at this. Again, on the nose, 4-6 up. Nope, it's down. His goal was to keep bowling as long as God blesses him. So I believe...
God's working overtime. Not to be outdone. A 2nd consecutive strike for the Scud Missile.
That's pretty amazing. And 2 breaks like that back-to-back, that's huge. I mean, that's 30, probably 50-pin swing in the match.
Either one could have been a split. 32 pins separating these 2 great bowlers. $100,000 waiting at the end for the winner of this final championship match.
You know, Don is currently on the Hall of Fame ballot for the ABC. He's really hoping to get into the ABC Hall of Fame.
In fact, he told me he wanted the exposure of the television show as much as he wanted the victory.
Right, he said he only had 17 votes, and this might help.
This might help.
I tell you, make shots like that, and it will. There's a good shot of Bill Chrisman, the president of Storm Products, one of the sponsors here, and several players use their bowling equipment this week.